As a kid, one of my favorite shows to watch in the mornings before school was Garfield and Friends, and I'm so happy that Verve is now offering Garfield and Friends to stream, as well as other cartoons and anime from our childhoods. vrv.co/geekdom. Try it for 30 days for free. The link will be in the description. Try it out. Alright, so I gotta talk about this Morbius trailer, alright? So I was gonna do a trailer breakdown, but as you may know, copyright problems tend to come through, and they don't really like when I do trailer breakdowns, so I actually show the trailer and pause it and whatnot. So I'm just gonna talk about it, alright? Assuming most of you have already seen this trailer, or at least if you haven't seen it, go watch it, then come back and talk to me, because I've got questions. So, first of all, I was not expecting this Morbius trailer this soon, alright? I heard about the movie and totally forgot about it, and now here we go. I'm a little tiny bit confused. Before we get into that, I want to talk about sort of the aesthetics of the trailer. So the trailer actually looks pretty good. Jared Leto is playing Morbius, and it's interesting because, you know, as you see the trailer sort of, and it's only a teaser, we haven't got the full one yet, you see his powers like develop, right, as the trailer goes on, which is very common for these sort of superhero origin stories, right? And at the end, or close to the end, you see him, like, you see his face, and it's actually, it looks like Morbius from the Spider-Man comics. I mean, it looks like him. A lot like him. So they did a great job as far as capturing how he looks. Same thing with Venom. You know, one thing you gotta give Sony credit for is that even though Venom wasn't the best movie ever made, you know, the look of Venom, the way he looked, he's never looked better. And that includes Spider-Man 3. I thought he looked too skinny and scrawny in that movie. In Venom, he looked like big, strong, and slimy, the way Venom looks. Here we have Morbius looking great. So, obviously, this is a Sony Pictures movie. This movie takes place in, supposedly, the Sony Pictures Spider-Verse / Venomverse, which started with the movie Venom. However, I'm confused here because at the end of the trailer, when they show Morbius, we have a cameo from Michael Keaton, who is reprising his role as the Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming, right? Now, Spider-Man Homecoming, despite it being a Sony movie, takes place in the MCU. Venom, which is also a Sony movie and presumably takes place in the same universe as Morbius, was not part of the MCU. So now we have this really weird cross-universe thing going on that I am confused about. Well, first I want to say this. Seeing Michael Keaton on screen with Jared Leto, it's like we have a Batman, we have a Joker. I thought that was cool. All right, I thought that was a cool little, hey, you know, but it's funny how these characters or these actors cross over into different places playing different superheroes and supervillains. You know, Jared Leto is both Joker and now he's Morbius. You know, it's just funny like that sometimes. Don't forget that Lawrence Fishburne is in both the DCEU and in the MCU, so that's interesting. But it looks like the way that this movie is being promoted, it says, you know, in association with Marvel, which is obvious because Morbius is a Marvel character, you know, one way or another. And I'm actually surprised they did not save Morbius for the Blade movie. We know there's going to be a Blade movie coming out, and I would assume that Morbius could be one of the villains in that film, but I guess he's not. The thing is, I am confused, though. You know, there's talk of there being more cameos from more of the Spider-Man group of characters, but not like the ones that are in the MCU already. So are they trying to like do a thing where they're trying to purposely confuse the fans? Because they were trying to do that with Venom. I know they were purposely. Sony wanted you to think that Venom was an MCU movie. That I know for a fact. They wanted you to think that so that you went to go see it as if it mattered in the MCU. But it didn't matter in the MCU. It's not an MCU movie. But now we have the Vulture crossing over. So is this an MCU movie or is it not an MCU movie? Oh, I don't know. But it gets even more interesting. So at one point in the trailer, and it's kind of hard to spot the first time, there's like a mural that shows Spider-Man. It shows, this is weird. So it shows what looks to be the Spider-Man from the MCU, the Tom Holland Spider-Man. There's all kinds of rumors that he's going to do cameos in this movie. We don't know that for sure. But it's interesting because it says murderer like in front of Spider-Man, which of course the whole story is that, you know, he murdered Jake Gyllenhaal's character Mysterio in Far From Home. So again, again, everybody's talking about this trailer, and it's for every reason except for Morbius. Everyone's talking about it for every reason other than Morbius. Nobody seems to even care about Morbius, which is too bad because he's always been kind of a B player and maybe even a C player in the MCU, or I'm sorry, in Marvel, not the MCU, in Marvel comics. He was never a big player in my opinion, even though I liked the character. I thought he was cool, but I never thought he was that important, and he's getting his own movie. But I feel like they're going to gimmick it up by, again, adding things from the MCU. But what's weird is, I didn't even get to this part, is it just me, or does the suit where it says murderer resemble the Sam Raimi suit more than the MCU Spider-Man suit? Maybe it's just my eyesight being bad, but it looks like that. So again, Leto looks fine. The movie looks like it's just, I mean, I'll be honest. The movie looks, aesthetically, it looks like it could be a fun movie, but it feels like it could be the same thing as Venom. Like, we have this character who is supposed to be a villain, but he becomes kind of an anti-hero, right? Same thing with what they did with Venom, and it's very interesting just because it's strange what they're doing. It's very, very strange. And I feel like what they're going to end up doing is they're going to end up pissing off some people. Because they're going to essentially have these stories that are, you know, Sony will say they're in the MCU and they're going to be all side stories that don't relate to each other. But Marvel will probably say, nope, that's not part of the MCU. Very, very weird. It's almost like Sony is writing fan manga. This is going to sound weird, but follow me. It's like Sony is writing non-canon fan manga for the MCU, but trying to sell it as being canon. Oh, God, this is confusing. But trying to sell it as being canon, right? But the canon creators don't want anything to do with it. So they're going to say take it or leave it type thing. I don't know, man, because Michael Keaton being in there, and again, remember, Far From Home and Homecoming are Sony movies. They just happen to be in the MCU, so are they just doing their own thing? Oh, it's so weird. But anyways, I don't have much else to say about this trailer. Unexpected, interesting, but also confusing, and I think it's going to confuse a lot of people, and I hope that they figure this out. And maybe by the time you watch this video, they would have already figured it out, but we'll see. I'm going to go see it, of course, as I go see all these genre movies and give my review when it comes out. But it should be interesting, and I look forward to seeing Michael Keaton again because he's awesome no matter what he does. Thanks again, and we'll talk soon.